Okay. Stick that in there. Do 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 do. Hey, little shiny pre. How are we all? Are we all right? How are we doing? Check what's there. Good. Okay. Let's just get some. Let's get some Pepsi down. So this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while. It's called How to Find How I Got Resources for the Stories for My Imaginary Friends and How I Lost My Imagination. So it's kind of sad. You might want to grab some tissues along the way. If you want to know where I am, because I'm recording this using Boss Chuck Jr., we're on a bench on Lord Street, and it's quite windy actually. So, So anyways, I'm drinking I'm drinking some Pepsi, which costed me 89p from the bargain shop, Bargain Buys. So anyway, this video is about imagination and how I get my resources and how I've lost it and stuff like that. So in the early days, I used to watch the soaps, Coronation Street, Emmerdale. I was never a big fan of EastEnders, but I used to watch, the soaps and follow the stories that were going on in the soaps. And so I think one of the main stories was like Dougie Ferguson. So like the business was going downhill. We used that, and that was from Coronation Street. We also used to read papers as well, or I used to get my nan to read me the paper. There'd be stories in the news, so we would use that too. And so I built up all these imaginary characters all through time, because nobody was ever like, social circles were a bit of a nightmare back in the day. You had to be like, with a social circle, the thing within it is people have to be engaged to what you're into, which is, social circle kind of thing. And the thing is with the social circles is you're always an outsider looking in, because the problem with social circles is a lot of people are very cliquey. So if you talk to somebody, it's like the reason you don't fit in is because they're very cliquey. And a lot of a lot of people that have disabilities, or even people that don't, but the people that have disabilities are more cliquey than others. So anyways, I'll do another video on social circles if people are really interested in what I think and what my thoughts are. But I never really fitted in with social circles because, one, I was never interested in what they were interested in, and two, there was a bit of a clash because I was different. I mean, everybody's different, but the problem is when you are different than they are, and you're more different than they are, it becomes a bit more difficult. Gosh, this sounds like something from a Tony Attwood book. It's like I've swallowed Tony Attwood's a whole sort of library of Tony Attwood. I follow him on YouTube. He's really great. Tony Attwood is a professor. He's a guy with a PhD, but sometimes you don't need somebody that's got a PhD to explain how difficult something is. Sometimes you just need somebody that's got that's been in the know-how to understand exactly where it's all coming from. The problem is, or the problem that you get with these social circles is people tend to you kind of, it's like they know the outsiders. So anyway, I'll leave all that till another day because it's quite interesting to discuss. So I had all these imaginary friends and built all these characters and made like a huge community of them. And you should all know, because if you follow the Facebook page, you should all know. And the thing is, all the stuff that I write about my imaginary friends, it's exactly like the soap operas. If you like your soaps, then you'll really like my page. The thing is, though, I think the soaps tend to try and be so topical, whereas my imaginary friends page isn't topical at all. It's something that I've thought of, and it's happened, and it goes on the page, and it's like a gallery of all the interesting bits, which you used to get when you watch the soaps. There'd be a story about, you get a really nice warm story, and then you get a really cold story or a really rocky story, but you don't get that now. You just get topical things that are happening, and these days I do, if I've got this, something's happening to one of my imaginary friends, these days I tend to get it from the newspapers. I follow the Champion, I follow the Southport Visitor, and I follow the Ormskirk Advertiser and the Thornby Bubble, and I will look at what's happened in the early days, what's happened now. Is it going to happen to one of my imaginary friends? Who knows? But it'll be something that's happened, or something that's happening at this time, present. It's just, I'll like pretend and play and put it into imaginative play. So it's stuff that's happening. So, anyway. Anyway, I'm going to come to the really sad bit now. Because when I was... I just had... That was worrying, the lid wasn't going on properly then. I had a spell, I think it was... I'd had my assessment with the Hesketh Centre, which I choose to have, I got referred to I got referred to the Hesketh Centre, and I got an assessment with a psychologist because of the non-agreement for the Asperger's. I'll do a whole video on that too. But I lost my imagination when I was 23. And the sad point of it was a huge writer's block. I still had my imaginary friends, but nothing was going on. I mean, all the dramatic stuff had happened. So my mother had this book about business relationships. She didn't read it to me. She was explaining it. I don't know where she's thrown it out or not, but apparently there's a bit in the book where it talks about business, when you're married to a business and business divorce. Well, I thought, what a great storyline. How are we going to rock the boat? Well, naturally things were going on in the business and so the boat got rocked. But when I was 23, that didn't happen, and then that was the last storyline. And then I nearly lost my imagination again in the following, in 2014. There was a lot going on in 2014. Stuff was happening with my weight. I had issues, which I don't need to really go into, but I lost my imagination when I was then. But I managed to keep hold of it because there was a gripping storyline that was again going to happen with our company. And it's then when these new characters, who'd always been in the background, but they came into the foreground in latter 2014 and early 2015. So now, it's like the last thing that happened was Rosemary got sacked. My imaginary friend Rosemary, she got sacked, and now she's coming back and she's getting a better job. And that happens in a lot of companies, but I didn't know that. And so I've been reading stuff on companies and what some bosses do. Gosh, it make you sick to your stomach, but it's happening in my company. And also there's other stories that are still happening. And the reason why is because I'll read something in somewhere and I'll go, ooh, but I'm actually turning to the papers for research because the papers give me, they fuel my imagination. What I read every time, I'll hear an article, I go, ooh, that's good, like somebody's been stabbed or company's gone under or somebody's opened a shop. All these little articles people don't read, and it's like, yeah, I know the papers are for old fogies, but seriously, when you read articles, it's amazing. It's like a warehouse of things to this lockdown, there's been stories that have happened, and I'm thinking, where have I got that piece of information? And again, it's just where I've heard something, or where I've read something, or something that I've heard in a conversation. And so I don't watch the soaps now because I have other better sources of information. Or usually I'll talk to my parents, maybe something's happened, in their time that would make a really good storyline, and I always think, that's why I ask people, what happened, what was the big storyline, when you were in your time, and they'll tell me, and it's like, wow, it's like once upon a time this happened, and so on and so on. And that really interests me because It's like, it might be a boring story, but you can take the really good parts out of the boring story and go, wow, that's amazing, you know? Anyway, there's a couple more videos coming on the channel. I like doing these story time videos because people ask questions, and instead of asking them, I'd rather tell the stories. I'm more comfortable now to tell them. I'm more comfortable to sit here on a bench with a bottle of pop, or maybe not a bottle of pop, and tell you stories. Because that's what I do. And because I've not been doing Maghull Radio at the moment, I'm deciding to create 2 more YouTube channels. One that's based on my imaginary friends, and another that's based on toy reviews, because I really think that they're 2 things that I could do and love, and I want to do toy reviews in a different way to how other people do them. And
Hello, Stevie.
all right, Mark, how are you, mate? Yeah, all right, mate. You too, mate. So yeah, I'm doing like toy reviews, but not in a way that people have done it ever before. And you know, I'll review any toy. You know, I'll review toys within my interest, but if anybody does a request, then I'll go and hunt down a toy. If I find a toy that someone's requested, I'll get it, I'll hunt it down, and I'll review it. But it'll be mainly geared to music and tech. Anyways, if you like what you've heard, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello, person sat next to me.